All right, welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about fight number 3. TJ Brown, downtown TJ Brown, taking on Erik Silva. Silva's 35 years old, which is late to be making your UFC debut. Very late. It's not late to be fighting, but making your debut, it's pretty late. I mean, if it all went according to plan, which it won't, he'd be fighting for the title at 37, 38. So he's got to get the ball rolling, and he is fighting TJ Brown, who's a solid UFC fighter. He's not quite middle of the pack, but he's not quite bottom of the barrel either. And or maybe he is, I don't know. But he's a scrapper, TJ Brown. He's 16-9 overall, but he's in his prime right now. He's in his fighting prime, and he shed some bad habits, some defensive holes in his game, and this is as good as TJ Brown's ever going to be. And that's what makes this a great test for Erik Silva, who is an inch taller at 5'10", supposed to 5'9". And Erik Silva, again, 35 years old, 9-1 entering the UFC. He steamrolled a striker on the Contender Series with ground and pound in a fight that looked straight out of 96. But his previous, I think, 4 victories are his only 4 submissions. I think he got them in 4 of his last 5 wins, and they're all via rear naked choke. Only one of which didn't come in round 1. It came in round 2. So, he's got 7 finishes, 3 TKOs, 4 submissions, and 2 decisions. But his 7 finishes all come in round 1, aside from that one rear naked choke I told you about. Speaking of rear naked chokes, his one loss is to a rear naked choke in round 3 to a guy that's turned into a pretty damn good fighter. But still, round 3 submission is precisely how I would have guessed a guy that looks like Erik Silva would have lost. And especially once I know that he is a bit of a front runner. He has a strong round 1 anyway. So it does give me some concerns about his cardio overall. Just knowing that's how he lost his one fight that he lost. But on the flip side of that, he's won 2 decisions. One of them was over a solid regional guy. The other guy was 0-0, I believe. But anyway, 2 decisions is not nothing. It's good for him to get that experience and to fight 15 minutes, even in a winning effort. But Erik Silva, technically, he wants to be on top. Wrestling is what's going to win him this fight. That's what wins him every one of his fights, And, of course, the jiu-jitsu with the rear naked chokes and whatever. But my point is, the common factor is he's always on top, whether it's by decision or submission or TKO, as we saw. But TJ Brown, he's been beaten every which way, and he's won every which way. He's 16-9 overall, 4-9-3. He's got 4 TKOs, 9 submissions, 3 decisions for his victories. And his losses are 3-3-3. 3 TKOs, 3 subs, 3 decisions. But the 3 TKOs come early in his career. I think they're his first 3 losses. Maybe there was another one sandwiched in there. But the last of which came 5 years ago. I haven't seen these losses. I've looked for them. But they're both in round 1 mainly. One of them's an injury, so it doesn't really count. But his other losses are in round 1. And, even though that's something that could plague him in the future, I trust his chin and I trust his durability and resiliency when it comes to eating strikes, just based on what I've seen from him at the UFC level. It's enough to override some regional losses that I haven't seen, I mean, TJ Brown looks like a damn tough fighter in there at the UFC level. He can fight hard for 15 minutes, and even though he's been submitted by Jordan Griffin inside the distance in the UFC, and he was submitted a few times outside, once to Trey Ogden, who's also now a UFC fighter, but TJ Brown is a scrapper. We've seen it in losing and winning efforts, especially that Kai Kamaka fight. He can fight hard for 15 minutes. He doesn't stop scratching and clawing, and that's what even put him in the realm of winning that decision against Kamaka. But on the losing end of things, we've seen Danny Chavez get the better of him. Shailon Nurbandeke, Bobby Moffitt way back. TJ, again, he's been beaten every which way. But Erik Silva, there's a lot of mystery here. I do think Silva wins round 1 just with his physicality and his athleticism and, his wrestling. But if he doesn't put TJ Brown away, this fight becomes a lot closer. I have it in my head that Silva's going to be winning round 1, but I also have it in my head that Brown's going to be winning round 3. just based on Silva having lost once inside of round 3, and TJ Brown, not that he always looks great in round 3, but he always fights hard. And I trust his cardio to hold up in a very tough fight, taxing in every area. So I think if it does go to round 3, it's TJ Brown's round. And that's why I'm having a hard time picking a victor here. I don't really come down on either side of this. The odds are even, too. They reflect that. Minus 120 for Silva, minus 110 for TJ Brown. So really, I've just played prop bets for this one. I guess if I had to give you a prediction, I'd go with Erik Silva. I would say he gets it done in round 1. That's just because, whatever, I like what I've seen from him. But kind of hoping TJ Brown wins, to be honest. I always root for the veteran, typically. I bet on Silva to win plus 350 for him to win in round 1, which covers submission or TKO, even though I have it in my head it would be a submission, or it would take place on the ground anyway. And TJ Brown, I've played him at to win round 3, inside round 3, at plus 1200. And now that I'm thinking about it, for a guy, I probably should have just played a draw. That's how fucking stupid that is. But TJ Brown is plus 1200 to win in round 3. I think if he gets a finish, it's more likely to happen late. He's had 2 arm triangle chokes inside of round 3 in the last half of his career. And again, that's Erik Silva's 1 loss, a round 3 submission. So with the newcomer and the cardio and the whatever and all the shit and all the questions, I think it's a possible answer. Round 3 for TJ Brown. But I guess if I give you a prediction, I'll go Silva round 1 submission, and I played Silva round 1 submission, round 1 flat, sorry, and TJ Brown round 3 flat. That's it. Like, share, subscribe, all that horseshit, and let me know how incoherent I was in the comments.